Wants to play Sampras.
Lost 15.
20 years old from Adelaide, where seems like he hardly ever loses a match on the tour.
That's where they first met. Leighton Hewitt and Andre Agassi down in Adelaide. Hewitt winning that. That was when Agassi was making his way back. Costa first round, 6-1 in the third. Shripafan from Thailand. Ularak easily. Escudé, I thought that'd be tougher. Escudé making way too many unforced errors, but Hewitt on a roll this week.
He's got to look out because Agassi's got 3 break points here in the first game. Sure, Agassi doesn't have the serve that Pete Sampras has maybe, but this 30-year-old from Las Vegas has got so much game right now, and he is out to a very quick start. Break points here for Agassi. Agassi gets a break without losing a point. He leads by 1 game to 11 in the first set with the break.
Mentioned that first time that they played, Cliff, in '98 in Adelaide in the semis. Leighton Hewitt won that in 2 tie breaks, and then in Los Angeles in '99 in the summer, Hewitt forced to retire at 5-4 in the first with an ankle injury. Hewitt will certainly try to use the pace of Agassi to his advantage. Arazi first round had beaten Agassi last year. Haas a tough first set there. Kiefer took him to 3. And then blitzed Nicholas Lepenti. Did not play well, did Lepenti in that quarterfinal.
So they have both lost 1 set.
Very similar, of course, looking games from these two. The difference, though, obviously, is Agassi has more power, and Agassi can actually create more power off of nothing. Whereas Hewitt, he thrives on the pace sort of his opponents.
Two kinds of players can beat Andre Agassi. On a faster court, a very offensive player and a big server. Or on a court that suits a defensive player, a very good defensive player. And I mean a guy who can run all day, and we're talking about Sunday of next week, and never get tired and not miss. Of course, this man, Leighton Hewitt, fits into the latter category, whether this is a good enough surface for him.
15.
He actually probably wants to keep the rallies longer. And normally that's actually plays into Agassi's hands, because Agassi, the longer the rally goes, can usually move his opponent around and then hit the finishing shot, the big shot. But Hewitt can get Agassi out of position, take advantage of what he does better than Agassi, which is move. He moves a little bit better. He's a better defensive player than Agassi. If he can get Andre on the move and stretched out wide, he has a shot. But he has to be somewhat offensive at times to be able to do that. Just don't know if he has the firepower right now. It's one thing if Agassi's making a lot of errors and maybe not playing his best, but doesn't seem like that's the mood that Agassi's in right now. Coming out looking very, very sharp.
Break point here for Hewitt. Hewitt gets the break back. It's 1 game all now. Big game that for Hewitt to break immediately back, because when you get Agassi out front as clearly as he can get, it could be a short day if you're playing against him. So that was a big move by the Australian.
Hewitt unhappy with that call there, or the lack of a call on an Agassi backhand.
Hewitt has just watched his girlfriend Kim Clijsters lose in the women's singles final to Serena Williams. Close match. She had a set, led 4-3, break point in the second set, and then let it slip.
15.
First serve there. If Hewitt can get some cheap points with the first serve, that'll really help him in this match, because it'll keep Agassi on his toes a little bit and make Hewitt not have to work so hard each and every game to hold. That will wear you out as the match goes on. You have to keep struggling point after point on your own serve. It takes its toll, especially against Agassi. Couple of doubles for Hewitt creeping in early here. Had one on the first point of the match.
He's a fidgety kind of player. Although in the last round we didn't see it from him. There was no fire that he showed, and normally he does, Hewitt.
Well, he didn't have to in that last match against Escudé. It was so routine. I think you'll see some emotion from him in this one.
I see some emotion and a lot of motion. I mean, it's like perpetual motion for him. He's always doing something. 30 all.
Ripping that backhand there. Likes to set up the play, Agassi, to set up his backhand down the line. And the way to do that is to hit a good one cross court like he did there and open up the court. Then he can measure it, have his opponent on the run. That's the time to go for the backhand down the line.
Break point for third straight break.
There
it is.
Agassi gets the break. 2-1. Players will change ends. You are watching coverage of the Tennis Masters Series Indian Wells men's semi-final. Sandwich is in the final. Semi-final men's singles Tennis Masters Series Indian Wells. Welcome everyone. It's Andre Agassi, enough said, and then Leighton Hewitt of Australia. 2-1 Agassi. He has a break. He's broken twice, and he was broken in his first serve game.
Take your seat, please. Thank you.
First stage of the match. Our man from the ATP who gives us all our stats and whatnot, Greg Sharko, gives us everything. He said, be a lot of breaks in this match. 3 straight. Way to go, Shark.
Very perceptive, Shark.
2 of the best returners in the game right here. perfect conditions. Sort of the end of the day, late in the afternoon, no wind at all, no sun on the court. Players have played plenty of tennis now on this court. A little bit of dryness, well, a lot of dryness, but a tiny bit of altitude here. But it's really the dry air that makes the ball fly through the air a little bit quicker here than most other stops on the tour. So you've seen Agassi struggle at times with his forehand, especially the ball flying on him a bit, but not now, not at this stage of the tournament.
I happen to love the desert. I just think it's great.
It's beautiful out here.
What? You live just a couple of hours away now.
One in a bend out here.
Am I allowed to say that? I mean, or
no,
you just New York?
You're not allowed to say that just yet.
But this LA thing.
You're not allowed to say that yet. Spending some time there.
All right. 30-15.
The ball there. We saw him flatten out the backhand up the line. This time he works it and flattens out the forehand up the line after working the point.
Game point, Agassi. He's had a couple of bad matches this year, but for the most part he's been ruthless.
Game Agassi.
Agassi holds on 3-1. He was beaten by Greg Ruzetsky in the final in San Jose, but he won the Australian, then he lost the first round in Scottsdale to Francisco Clavet. No clown, by the way. 7-5 in the third set.
No clown?
No, he's a good player.
Who said anything about
Nobody
a clown?
Nobody did. I'm just pointing out.
He won the tournament.
I know. I'm just pointing out that the guy, you know, was, had a loss.
Good player. Right. It happens, even to the guys like Agassi.
Exactly.
Well, our big story coming in this week was the losing streaks, right, Cliff? Was Sampras losing 3 in a row, and he's in the final.
We're not talking about that anymore.
Agassi losing 2 in a row. Looking for a place in the final.
To play against Sampras, just in case you just joined us, he took out Yevgeny Kafelnikov, Sampras in the final. And he has got slowly better during each match here. The relentless pressure of 2 of the best returners in tennis. Maybe the best 2 returners of serve.
Well, Hewitt led the tour last year in break points converted, so he's a strong indicator of who is the best returner.
And nobody argues with that statement about Agassi, that's for sure. 15 all. No.
Leighton Hewitt's folks on hand. His coach, Darren Cahill, expecting a child, so he's staying back in Australia.
Can I tell my Aussie rules stuff about them? They were Aussie rules players. The dad, the
Dad was,
grandfather,
right.
and uncle.
Footy. Also rules footy.
Played professionally. And Leighton Hewitt, as a kid, had to choose between the two. Told the story before. But he chose tennis, obviously. Given the opportunity to go to Europe and to spend time, then what did you say to me when I told this story last time? You said, yeah, tennis or sitting under a scrum
Right.
with 15 humongous guys falling on top of you.
He made the right call.
Game point Hewitt. Leighton Hewitt holds on. Agassi's got an early break. In fact, he's broken twice. He needs 3-2 because he has in turn been broken once. First set, second. Sampras Hewitt semi-final last year U.S. Open, Patrick.
Well, it's a big breakthrough for Hewitt to do that well in a major. And he was actually pretty close to taking Sampras to the distance in this one. But as it turned out, it was 3 tight sets. Sampras able to win each of them, though. A little too much firepower from Pete. Got to net quite a bit. Hewitt fought well in this match. Of course, he always does that. He took a little bit out of Pete Sampras on that day. For a straight set match, it was a tough one and a pretty long one for Sampras.
Both players have come out.
Drop volley there. Who's that guy commentating there? Hearing that voice in the background. There it was for Pete Sampras getting through to the U.S. Open final, where he got demolished by Marek Safin. Another one of the new balls, please, campaign of the ATP. Here's the other one.
Leighton Hewitt took out Arnaud Clément, beat to Thomas Enquist, Jiri Novak, Julian Botha, the Frenchman, and Andreas Vinciguerra from Sweden to get to the semi-finals. It was a great year all round, actually, for Leighton Hewitt. He was very solid all year, very seldom lost in the first round of any tournaments. Queen's Club final, he took out Sampras in that final.
On grass, of course, just before Wimbledon.
Sampras beat him in the semi-final at the Ericsson. We'll be starting the Ericsson tomorrow week.
You mean a week from tomorrow?
That's what I mean.
Agassi all of a sudden spraying a few balls on his forehand. That's 3 straight errors on the forehand side. And the hole again on his serve at love 30. There's another one. Hewitt pumping himself up. Smart move by Hewitt there. He was on the run. He was way out wide. Looped that ball. Got some good depth on it. Also, he'll be very quick to realize that Agassi's struggling on the forehand.
Well, that's good court coverage there from Hewitt, but not good enough for the attempted pass. Agassi with the winner saves 1 break point.
You're going to be saying that quite a bit over the next 10 years, Cliff, when you talk about Leighton Hewitt. Good court coverage. This guy is so quick. Not sure who's quicker, maybe him or maybe Clément, the Frenchman who got to the finals at the Australian this year. Again, another forehand sprayed, and Hewitt takes a good long look over at Agassi.
Both broken twice, even 3 games all. More breaks than holds.
But the thing that Agassi's been able to do, Cliff, especially in the last couple of years, is quickly recover from a bad game or a couple of loose errors. Remember those streaks he used to have where he'd go a set, maybe a match, just continuing to make error after error. Now he's usually able to reel himself in and sharpen his game. not used to, though. Someone, that's Hewitt did there. And Agassi hit some excellent balls with good depth. Hewitt able to fight him off and, in turn, hit that backhand deep there. You see Agassi was moving in, expecting the short ball, but Hewitt, with his speed, able to get there in enough time to hit a ball back with some good depth. Agassi's going to have to adjust and be a little more patient against Hewitt.
He's going to have to hit one or two more balls for the win in each point than he's used to, and that can be dangerous for him.
When he's looking over at his coach, Brad Gilbert, with practicing that forehand swing. He's lost it temporarily. Swing on the forehand. So a little subtle adjustment there from Agassi. Took a step back and waited on that ball. Let it drop a little bit. Didn't try to take that one on the rise. Brad Gilbert not looking too concerned. Picking his feet up.
Agassi's coach, longtime coach. It's going to be thick and thin, actually. Emotional match just finished about half an hour ago, and Leighton Hewitt watching his girlfriend Kim Clijsters go down to Serena Williams. Yeah, it was a tennis match, but there was so much more to it because this crowd is really mad with the Williams family, and there's an adjustment to be made. That one wasn't even close. Sprayed that serve, but it's game point still. It's high. It's difficult for a crowd to stay on an emotional high like they were, watching every point, for the most part, clapping for Clijsters, the Belgian, against Serena Williams of the USA here in California. Good crowd, by the way, today. Very excited crowd. 16,000 seats here. Hewitt holds on. He's in front now. Agassi had broken twice, but he in turn was broken twice. And Hewitt is in front. Agassi to serve. Semi-finals, men's singles. Welcome back, everyone. Leighton Hewitt leading under Agassi 4-3. We're on serve. Agassi to serve here at Indian Wells. Tomorrow on ESPN, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 out west, where we are Detroit Red Wings and San Jose Sharks. NHL rules telecast help long-time and first-time hockey fans understand terminology, strategy, and the intricacies of the game. Detroit led by captain and 1,600-point scorer Steve Yzerman. San Jose led by captain Owen Nolan. For more, log on to ESPN.com. And while we're promoting the future, let's talk about tomorrow. The winner of this match will take on Pete Sampras in the men's singles championship match.
It'll be at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, 2:30 Eastern, live. We'll have that final.
Best of 5.
15.
Swinging serve there from Agassi, hitting the line. Quite a few unforced errors over. Wow, 15 as I look at the stats, Cliff, for Agassi already. Good news for him is that he's on serve. I mean, with that many errors, you'd think he'd be out of the set already.
Another one. You know, if he's going to be, if there's a player that can make him make unforced errors, it's Leighton Hewitt, because he's so quick and he can just gather everything and thrust it back. 30-15. If it's Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi in the championship match tomorrow, they're head-to-head. Sampras leading 17-12. It's been a nice and long rivalry. And I'll never forget that when Agassi was way down in the 100s in the world, Patrick, you'd talk to Pete Sampras, and he would always say, Andre Agassi is my threat. Agassi holds on and has evened it up at 4 apiece. So others may have written Agassi off at a certain time. In fact, many did. But not Pete.
Not the guys that really know, Cliff. One that takes the court against you. Those are the people that know better than anyone. Oh, beautiful to watch, isn't it? He put his hard hat on at that point, Agassi. Took his time, ripped a couple backhands down the middle, sort of restart the point, then opened it up, finally got the short ball he wanted, and measured it with the winner. Look at the good footwork, the preparation, moves into the court as he's hitting it. That's the first point that Agassi's really taken a step back and worked and then reworked the point. And he's got to do against Hewitt, who gets so many balls back in play.
Love 15. They're both dune runners, these two boys, except that the dunes they run are way far apart from each other. Adelaide for the Australian and Las Vegas dunes for Agassi.
But all with the same goal in mind.
About 30, in fact, Gil Reyes was talking about Agassi worked so hard in the season that he ran those dunes here and was close to throwing up at points, and he just kept pushing himself.
There's Gil, his buddy, and his trainer. More importantly, I think, Cliff, his buddy. I mean, as we've talked about, these guys that Agassi surrounds himself with are his friends more than anything else, and they've been through it all with him. Forehand there. Agassi getting around it, giving himself plenty of room to hit that inside out. What that also did was it created a little more side spin. Able to fully extend his racket. Another break point for Agassi. He's been perfect so far.
So is the Shark a genius or what? Break points here for Agassi. Double fault. Agassi will serve for the set when we come back to our coverage of the Tennis Masters Series. Indian Wells, it's semi-final of the men's singles. Sampras with the win earlier today over Kapranikov. Cliff Drysdale alongside Patrick McEnroe calling Andre Agassi and Leighton Hewitt semi-final Tennis Masters Series Indian Wells. Agassi has broken 3 times. He's been broken twice himself. He's serving now for the first set.
Ooh, terrible backhand there. Hewitt smothering him.
Todd Martin robbed the Australian crowd, and indeed you on ESPN, who watched so many matches alongside us, of an Agassi-Sampras match in Australia when he beat Pete Sampras, and then Agassi took him out and went on to win the first slam of the year. that is the match that may well happen. And Agassi can increase his chances tremendously if he wins this game. 15 all, 5 for Agassi.
First time, Cliff, Hewitt really gone after a ground stroke. That time attacking the backhand side. He's been content to keep the ball in play. I guess he's made a lot of mistakes, but I think when it gets to that crucial point in the set, I don't think he can expect that Agassi's going to do that.
Oh, that's a terrific shot. You know, for those of you who've said to me over the years when talking about tennis that the new equipment has really hurt tennis, there's too much power in the game, I say, watch points like these. And how can you say that? There's a lot of tennis to be played, a lot of shots being hit. And here the Australian Hewitt has got a break point to level. Oh, talk about having to work the point again. Agassi doing it brilliantly.
The other thing that people always say to me, Cliff, as well, is that there's not the strategy. You know, that they think that people just have all these big hitters now. And as you say, and as I say, I can totally disagree. There's a lot of strategy and thought that goes into each point, especially the way these guys play. Maybe not sometimes with the Goran Ivanisevics of the world.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, every group has got its exceptions.
Deuce at 5-4.
Set point for Agassi coming up.
This is what players talk about, Cliff, and especially the great players, when they say, I got to raise my game, I've got to pick up my game at the right time. This is what Agassi is doing now, and that's why I say that Hewitt has to go for his shots a little bit more at the crucial stage of the set, because Andre's not going to give it to him.
Again working the point, wins the set. 6 games to 4. Andre Agassi heading toward a match in the final with Pete Sampras. He can beat Hewitt. You're watching the semi-final of the Tennis Masters Series Indian Wells between Andre Agassi and Lleyton Hewitt. Because of limited time today, we are going to move ahead to later in the match. You want to know the difference between these two guys' forehands? Well, this is a nice illustration. Let's take a look at Hewitt first on the right of your screen. Let's roll it, guys. As you can see him taking the racket back. You can see the bent elbow there at that stage. That's pretty typical. Freeze it there. Now watch this racket. He's going to come all the way down to below where he makes contact with the ball, and then he's going to go through. That's going to give him a nice Nice topspin shot, but it is also going to take a little bit off the ball. Let's let Hewitt roll through, please, guys. You see it how at that point it's below the level of the ball, and now it comes up above the level of the ball. Now you see Agassi. He is rotated nicely in a very similar way. Elbow slightly bent again. Freeze it there again. Now watch from here. Do you see how the racket at this point is coming through the ball in this direction? He flattens it out more than Leighton Hewitt does. It gives the shot more power, maybe a little less control. It's a much more aggressive shot than Leighton's forehand. Buy that, Patrick?
Totally, I'll buy that for sure. I mean, he hits a lot more winners. He goes for a lot more. Yes, he makes more errors, but especially in the game today, the men's game, and that's becoming more and more so the women's game, it's the players that are going for more. They're hitting more winners, yes, making more errors. Those are the ones that generally will win the matches now, because it's about controlling the play and about controlling the style of play. Defensive tennis doesn't work the way it used to work, because as you see the winners and errors of both players, you see Agassi with more of both. Much of that has to do with the equipment, obviously, that players can hit the ball harder from the back of the court with the graphite rackets and the Kevlar or whatever else they're putting in the rackets. And also their players are, I think, overall fitter, stronger.
You know, Patrick, when you watch guys like this playing, and you're a kid and you want to become a tennis player and you look at them, you've got to be fit, you've got to be strong. And frankly, it wasn't always like that. I mean, we've had a couple of pretty slouchy players over the years. You looking at one if you just turn to your left.
I don't know, Cliff. I saw some old tape of you.
Vicious slice from Agassi. Again, that's an improvised shot. It's not his favorite. Watch.
Hewitt able to get Agassi on the move and then take this ball earlier and look to get in. Smart play from Hewitt. Has not been into net much at all, only 3 times in the match. Chance for Hewitt to get up a break in the second at 15:30. Forehand error from Agassi. Fifth opportunity for Hewitt.
Oh, that was, I tell you what, that was a great shot there from Agassi. It's his favorite to go down the line then. Hewitt was on his way there to look for it. And Agassi went back cross-court with a wicked winner.
He tapes his ankles up very tight. Excuse me, Cliff, and he wears those supports around his ankle. Leighton Hewitt, the same ones, similar style that Michael Chang has worn for many years. Still break point.
That is wide, and the break to serve goes to the Australian, Leighton Hewitt, who leads 3-1 in the second set. He missed it. presented a very nice target.
Yeah, this one sat up nicely for Hewitt. Oh, he missed it badly. You get a mic on him with all the stuff he's saying. 7 titles as a teenager. The matches he won before the age of 20. Gets right back. Uses his feet so well, Hewitt does, to get around that backhand. Watch the way he sets this up. Solid serve, quick footwork, a couple of quick steps. Have to give yourself a lot of room on that play so you have plenty of room to swing at that forehand as you're moving to your left to being a right-hander. Jim Courier turned that into an art form. Solid first serve and then look to pound the forehand. I guess we should say Lendl before that, Cliff.
Yeah.
He had to hit the big serve. He didn't look to run around it quite as much, I think, as Courier did. Probably a little more solid on the backhand, Lendl. Could hurt you more with the backhand. Don't you think, than Courier could?
Yeah, and Lendl also, he didn't stalk the baseline as close as Courier did. Also, he was not shy to move back a bit, too.
A loose set so far for Agassi.
Game point for 4-1. Solid set from Leighton Hewitt, not making many unforced errors as he takes a 4-game-to-1 lead. 1 break, second set. He lost the first. ESPN's exclusive coverage of the Tennis Masters Series Indian Wells is brought to you by Audi. Agassi to serve to Australia's Leighton Hewitt.
15.
He's down 4-games-to-1, 15 love now. Leighton Hewitt saying that if he was not a tennis player, he would have been an Australian rules football player. Sampras was down 4-1 in both of his sets today, came back and won them both.
Agassi really gift wrapping this set so far for Hewitt. 28 errors, a lot of them coming in this set.
Another one.
He had the focus, Agassi. Certainly that he had in Australia. His unforced errors were often in the single digits. Look at that, 17 in the first, already 12 in the second set. Hewitt tightening it up with only 2.
Yep.
Drops in.
Pernille.
The way he recovers here, Hewitt. He thought this was going to go cross-court quickly. Able to push off. Roll that into the open court.
Oh, he got it.
Wow. That's some speed there.
Break point. This is for the insurance break. Second set would give him 5-1, and that surely would do it for Hewitt. Do it too, Agassi. One break though separates these guys now, so if Agassi can hold on, this set is still up for grabs.
Game Agassi.
Close, but he holds on, and now Hewitt to serve at 4-2.
Hewitt, 4 games to 2.
Agassi going with a fresh racket now. Ball change after 7 and 9 games. That was something that Ivan Lendl used to do after every ball change. I should say before every ball, but when they change balls, he'd always go to that fresh racket. Lots of times the tension will change maybe 1-2 pounds.
Aggressive shot there from Agassi. They played twice, and here's Agassi caught on both of them. He said, well, the first time we played was 98 in Adelaide. You know, we had a brutal match. It was like, I was like 0 for 16 on break points. I just never believed the whole time playing a 16-year-old, which is what he was at the time, he's going to be able to stay with me throughout the match. So I just kind of didn't keep the pressure on. Never quite stepped it up on him. And I was surprised when I ran out of time at the end.
Well, he's trying to step it up here now, Cliff, and then he's making fewer errors, taking the ball a little bit earlier. It's almost like Agassi senses that he can lift his game up, and that it doesn't really matter what he does in the beginning of the set as long as he doesn't get too far down against Hewitt. That'll nip him.
That's a great point there. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 terrific hits. Agassi has broken 3 out of 3 this time. Watch this now.
$15-30. Agassi's still thinking about that forehand. Brad Gilbert's, his coach, is over right in that corner there. He went over and said something to him, talking about that swing. It's just not quite right. There's BG.
We were told that he said to BG, that, why am I playing so bad?
Sounds like something like a 15-year-old said. Hey, I'm playing so bad. I've never played worse. He actually is not playing that well for him at all.
I mean, his unforced error column is terrible.
30.
But he's got a break point here. There's the command from Hewitt. That's the first one that I've heard anyway today. You heard a lot of that down under in Melbourne this year. Missed it. Game point Hewitt. That one sails and Hewitt holds on. He was in trouble but came back. So he's got a 5-2 lead now. Agassi will serve. It's one break. Semi-final. Men's singles tennis master series Indian Wells. Welcome everyone. 6-4 first set. Andre Agassi, but he's down 5-2 now in the second. By the way, Patrick, for the very first time today, a guy walked up to me downstairs and he said to me, is Hewitt related to Bob Hewitt? I mean, nobody's asked me that. And Bob Hewitt and True McLean was, I guess, next to Fleming and McEnroe, your brother, the best doubles team in the world that ever played the game.
Certainly up there.
Yeah. And he has the same name. The answer is they're not related. Bob Hewitt moved from Australia to South Africa and I believe still lives there. Drew McMillan lives in England these days. 15 all, 2-5.
Very sloppy match, Cliff. I mean, really from both guys. The level has not been nearly as high as I expected it to be. Both players with many unforced errors, a lot more unforced errors than winners. Agassi seems to be rushing. No real explanation for it either. I mean, it's absolutely perfect conditions. No wind, no sun, cool.
That's right. Well, Agassi said about playing against Leighton here that if you're playing well, it would be nice to play against him because he can bring out the best in you. I'm sure he's not a good guy to play if you don't like the way you're hitting the ball, because he's going to make you hit a lot of balls, and that's what's happened. He's not happy with the way he's playing, obviously, but he's won that game 5-3. Hewitt serving for the second set.
Winner of this, of course, will play Pete Sampras. Sampras has won this event twice before, but the last time back in '95 when he beat Agassi. Hewitt serving for the set now. He's been broken 3 times, all in the first set. Clijsters just fresh off her appearance in the final here. She took out Martina Hingis in the semis, losing earlier today to Serena Williams. Resetter. Men's final here tomorrow will be best of 5. We will have that for you live, I'm happy to report, at 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 Pacific.
2 points from the set now for Hewitt. That's wide. Set points Hewitt.
His hitting zone seems to be a little bit off Agassi. He doesn't seem to be hitting the ball at the right position. That one he was sort of well out in front of. Seemed to be waiting back on the ball enough. And of course, in Agassi, as he told us the other day, Cliff, he says, you know, my game is so precise. I take the ball on the rise. My precision has to be there. It's not there right now. Why he needs a lot of matches, or why he needs to be in excellent condition to play at his best. Oh, missing badly on that, so Hewitt evens it at a piece.
First set 6-4, then Hewitt wins the second 6-3.
Well, it's really a case, Cliff, of there's a whole host of unforced errors for Agassi in that second set. See if he can tighten it up in set number 3.
singles semi-final action. Andre Agassi taking on the Australian Leighton Hewitt. 6-4 first set Agassi. Hewitt came back and won the second 6-3. Only one break of serve in the second set. Plenty in the first. Now the question will be answered. How badly has either one of these two players want to win this third set? Early stages will tell that story. Thought you made a good point in that Pete Sampras match, Patrick, when you said that after he wins the tie break, you know, second set, he said watch him go for the break in the early stages third set. Well, that's exactly what happened, and he won it.
We saw Agassi in this earlier in the week, especially against Tommy Haas after a tight first set, come back, and what he did as the match went on is he served better. He hasn't served that well in this match at all. Yeah, if he does that, it could be a quick set, because if he can hold the serve and pick it up.
Tennis Masters Series, Indian Wells men's singles final. Pete Sampras waiting for the winner of the match that you are watching. Will it be Andre Agassi in this third set? Or will it be Leighton Hewitt from Australia? They play in a certain way, similar way, and Pete Sampras is waiting for the winner. Best of 5 set final match, 2:30 Eastern Time, live on ESPN tomorrow. One to Agassi in the third set. Oh, he was waiting for it. There's Agassi.
If we can pick up the level of play here in this final set. Agassi scrambling, guesses right here, anticipates it. Gets that right leg out to plant himself on that wide forehand. That's where you get the strength from that strong right leg for a righty. 15 all. Second game, third set.
Whoa.
There it is. That's a good construction of the point there from Agassi. Flattening out that forehand. Forcing the error from Hewitt there. That served well, Hewitt. That served right into the body on the forehand side of Agassi. Some cheap points with that one. He's won 88% of his first serve points, Hewitt. That's 22 out of 25. That's a big number against Agassi. Especially for Hewitt, who doesn't have that A big first serve. That's 23 out of 26 now.
Game point Hewitt. That sounds wide. Even one set all and one game all. Take a look at Leighton Hewitt's backhand here. As you look, just watch what he does here. Something I think you'll find quite interesting. Watch how he straightens the elbows out here. You know who this reminds me of? You see right there? You see how those elbows are straight? Now, most players, including Agassi, have the elbow slightly bent. Watch that swing. Freeze it again. Can you freeze it again? You see how straight that has stayed. Now, his racket is pretty close into the body. His eye is very much on the ball, which is good. Now, let him go through it. You know who that reminds me a bit of?
No.
Jimmy Connors.
Big
Straight elbow swing. You know, very few two-handers hit that way.
Of course, Connor's hit is so flat and almost a slice.
Yeah.
That's why I was on the edge of my seat trying to figure out who it reminded you of. He was so quick to pounce on these balls. His quickness gets him in a position to make that an easy shot. 15 all, 1 all, third set. What is it, Cliff? Dead, solid, even.
Yeah. I never know what's going to get your attention. Now, chicken. Just throw it in.
I never do either.
Agassi holds on. He has the lead in the third, but we are on serve. Stephanie Grubb watching boyfriend action. Agassi leading 2-1. Leighton Hewitt to serve. It's very close here in the third set. Our coverage of the final round begins tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 2:30 out here on the West Coast where we are. It's a standard register ping on the LPGA Tour. After yesterday's 59, the question is, can Annika Sorenstam stay on top of the field? From the Moon Valley Country Club in Phoenix, Arizona. For more information, log on ESPN.com.
She was here last weekend, Cliff.
Yeah,
I think lives nearby. She was taking a little tour with Charlie Passerelle, the tournament director here.
Maybe it was your handshake that put the
I think I
magic.
gave her a little magic, a magic touch.
You know,
I'm so good around the greens, you know, Cliff.
You know, the interesting thing to me is whether there was a lot of talk about this golf ball. I wonder if she's using this new Titleist ball that they were talking about. Love Hewitt.
still chatting with Brad Gilbert over there, still disgusted with the amount of unforced errors he's making. It's up to 37 now, Cliff. That's about how many he made all week, all 2 weeks in Australia. What was that? That was bizarre right there. That was like an Agassi shot from 10 years ago. I thought that was that stayed in the closet the last couple of years. Andres.
Oh, let's see right now. 40 love. Easy game for Hewitt, 2 apiece. Agassi to serve, and he's got to gather himself here. You hit a few shots that wildly. It's not that easy to get it together again. Took out Lepenti easily. Wasn't even challenged against Lepenti. Oh, yes, in trouble if you get a guy with passing shots like the Australian Leighton Hewitt. Give him that good a look. There were so many things he could have done. You know, he could have hit this with his topspin lob, which he hit so well, but that's what he chose to do.
Well, the first one set it up, Cliff, the forehand, and Hewitt's smart. He didn't try to hit a winner on the first pass. Got it at Agassi's feet, and Agassi comes back with service winner. It's a bizarre match, this one. I can't put my finger on it. I'm supposed to be able to, right, Cliff? Isn't that my job?
That's what they're paying you for.
That Agassi's unhappy with a very tight.
On the line. Good play, good point. Game point, Agassi.
Good movement from Agassi to cover that. Come on, Leighton. Into it now.
Leighton moves. Look where he is now, and look where he ends up.
Andre did well to get into position to make that volley cleanly. Game point.
Oh.
I think Agassi hasn't done terribly. It's a double fault. It's only the third. It's almost like he's got this little smirk on his face, Agassi, like it's the only way he knows how to deal with it. He can't believe how poorly he's playing. And I mean, he's still playing someone as good as Hewitt. He's right in the match.
40 unforced errors. Certain amount of pressure that comes from Leighton Hewitt, though, because he's so quick about the court. He gets to everything. Agassi hits that forehand, and 9 times out of 10 he expects to control the point. Hewitt gets to it, puts it back in his feet, and he's in trouble. Break point.
And Hewitt's doing exactly the right thing when Agassi does come in. Just put it at his feet. He senses that Agassi's frustrated.
2 games all deuce, a set apiece. They won an Agassi-Sampras final. Oh, that's a big serve from Agassi, and he has held on. He leads in the third set, 3 games to 2. We'll come back to our coverage of the Tennis Masters Series Indian Wells men's semi-final. It has been a terrific week of tennis in the desert and weather, by the way. We're not far from Palm Springs, a couple of hours drive from Los Angeles. We're watching the men's semi-final. 1 day to go. Tomorrow, men's final. Who will take on Pete Sampras?
Agassi looking for his first title here in the desert.
Played Sampras before in the final and came second in that one.
So last time Sampras won it back in '95. Well, you can see that Agassi means business in this game, Cliff, because he's standing so far back. I think he knows now he wants to make Hewitt work. Doesn't want to give him any cheap points. He's given him way too many in this match. Agassi was a couple of feet behind the baseline in that point, giving himself a little more room. Not having to time the ball perfectly.
Love 15.
As he does when he's right on the baseline. Got it. Yo! With a little extra room helped Agassi there. Track that first passing shot down. Watch how far back is Agassi there, but he gives him just a little extra time to bunt that up the line, and then he uses his wheels. Watch how far back Agassi is. He's already running. He's already moving.
Perceptive of you, Patrick, to say that about Agassi staying back. And, you know, you are usually not a fan of a guy who plays too defensively or gets too far behind the baseline, and now you're lauding him doing that.
And Kim Kleisters, happy to see her man down triple break point. And the reason he's doing that now, Cliff, is because he was making so many unforced errors trying to take the ball on the rise.
I see. Very perceptive. Break points. There it is. The break for Agassi, and he leads 4-2.
Talk about measuring the ball. Agassi with the return gets Hewitt out of position, lines it up, rips it. And Hewitt on the run. Agassi taking a step back. That one takes it on the rise. Good adjustment by Agassi in that game. His ability now, Cliff, to go to different style is what's given him all the success in the last couple of years.
I mean, awe of how perceptive you were on that last
You're
game.
always in awe of that.
4-2 Agassi, he's serving.
15 left.
So what is Hewitt's antidote to that, Patrick? What's he going to do now?
He's trying to. He tried to do it just there. He tried to take advantage of the second serve and go for a big forehand. But that's not really his favorite style. Attack quickly in the point.
Agassi has turned it on. He's 1 point away now from a 5-2 lead. 40 love. So is he going to go for a jump in here and break serve for the match, or is he going to bide his time?
I think he might go for it, someone else. You think so?
Yeah. 5-2. Second.
For people who are demanding.
Extremely.
The Schick Extreme 3. Triple blade performance. Pivoting head. Sleek design. And best of all, after a whole bunch of great shaves, you just serve up another one, which is rather convenient.
Extremely.
Schick Extreme 3.
Schick. Shave something.
5-2. Agassi 4 points away from a meeting with Pete Sampras in the final.
Well, the outing match summary, Agassi, whole handful of unforced errors, especially in the first 2 sets, 34, but only 6. He tightened his game up in this final set. That's why he's up now 5 games to 2. Forehand again.
13.
Points to Hewitt. Oh, that's a big... It would have been a big serve if it hadn't been for the fault. Second serve coming up. Hewitt doesn't like the call.
That gorgeous desert sky there, sunset.
Picture perfect.
Send me a postcard, Cliffy.
Hewitt is now on the brink, and Agassi needs to win just 4 points.
Agassi
Points. Their date with Mr. Sampras. That will be their 30th meeting at 17-12. Sampras leading head-to-head.
There's a very nice ring to it. It's been a rivalry for the decades, hasn't it? Agassi and Sampras. Sampras waiting for the winner of this one. 2:30 Eastern Time, live ESPN. Sunday. Love 15.
Six unforced errors clipped the first 7 games, Agassi, but at least 3 or 4 now. The last game and the first point of this game for Agassi.
Left 30.
They're trying to guide that. Guide that backhand there. Really not that comfortable, Agassi. I think he should step back as he did in the game that he broke. He's not trying to get back in his usual position on top of the baseline, but he hasn't been comfortable there tonight. There it is again. 15 feet. Wow.
You may see him back up on this next serve if he doesn't hold here. I don't think we'll see him serve and step back. I guess that is very much against his grain. Break point.
I think it was father, heart attack, right?
Yeah.
It's the one that taught him to stand on that baseline no matter what. Oh!
Double fault. They're going to change hands with Agassi now and Hewitt in the semifinals on serve in the third. Welcome back to the desert of California, everyone. It's Indian Wells that hosts this great event. It's the first Masters Series of the year, and Andre Agassi in the semifinal taking on Leighton Hewitt, the number 4 and 6 seeds respectively. Leighton Hewitt serving down 4-5, third set.
Agassi had 6 unforced errors the first 7 games of the set. 6 in the last 2 games, giving Hewitt that break, and I mean giving it to him.
Pace change there from Agassi, staying back again as he did the last time that Hewitt served from the side. That time it didn't work. Hewitt finally, with this shot here.
And Hewitt adjusted well in that point. He played some good defense and then took his opportunity on the forehand up the line and knocked off the winner. It's Hewitt's 9th forehand winner. Agassi has double the unforced errors that Hewitt has. 23 for Hewitt, 46 for Agassi. Only 4 more winners for Agassi.
Low. To be watching playing from back there a few steps further back than he's used to. Agassi I'm talking about, and he doesn't seem to lose that much. I mean, he's still, look at that beautiful
wow,
scene.
that's gorgeous. Spectacular.
I mean, he still could get the angle and eventually gets that one out of reach down the forehand side.
Well, he does that. He's done that a few times. I saw him do it. We saw him do it against Safin in Portugal, in Lisbon last year in the Masters Cup, in the semifinal there. Did that to blunt the power of Safin.
Ace from Hewitt, 30-15.
Only his second clip of the match for Hewitt. Hewitt telling himself to hit it. Telling himself I'm pulling up, pulling back on that forehand. Going through the ball.
All. Big point. How redundant is that? Out of court and match point for Agassi.
Hewitt feeling that he has to do a little bit more than he wants to with that forehand. And then Agassi is looking to pounce. Match point.
Decided against it, backed up. Agassi stayed with him. Error from the Australian and Agassi, and Sampras will play a best-of-5 set final live at 2.